Welcome to Book Bytes, the Azle Memorial Library's 2021 Summer Reading Book Buzz program. I'm Liz, the Adult Services Librarian here at the library, and this week we're excited to welcome back Library Assistant Director Lisa Galletta to discuss with us new and upcoming suspense, mystery, and thriller titles.
Thanks, Liz. For me, a good suspense or thriller novel can be a real page-turner, and we have several to talk about today. So let's jump in. Our first title for this week is the debut piece by Zakiya Dalila Harris. Before writing her novel, Harris spent nearly 3 years in editorial at Knopf Doubleday Press. Published June 1st, The Other Black Girl has ongoing Booklist, Kirkus, and Publishers Weekly starred reviews, as well as Library Journal pre-pub alerts and reviews. Get Out meets The Devil Wears Prada in this electric debut about the tension that unfurls when two young black women meet against the starkly white backdrop of New York City book publishing. 26-year-old editorial assistant Nella Rogers is tired of being the only black employee at Wagner Books. Fed up with the isolation and microaggressions, she's thrilled when Harlem-born and bred Azle starts working in the cubicle beside hers. They've only just started comparing natural hair care regimens, though, when a string of uncomfortable events elevates Azle to office darling and Nella is left in the dust. Then the notes begin to appear on Nella's desk. Leave Wagner now. It's hard to believe Azle is behind these hostile messages. But as Nella starts to spiral and obsess over the sinister forces at play, she soon realizes that there's a lot more at stake than just her career. A whip-smart and dynamic thriller and sly social commentary that is perfect for anyone who has ever felt manipulated, threatened, or overlooked in the workplace. The Other Black Girl will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very last twist. Next up, we have The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. Published June 15th, this psychological thriller has a 3.9 rating on Goodreads, with reviews by Kirkus and Library Journal and ongoing starred reviews by Booklist and Publishers Weekly. Edward Fosca is a murderer. Of this, Mariana is certain. But Fosca is untouchable, a handsome and charismatic Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge University. Fosca is adored by staff and students alike, particularly by the members of a secret society of female students known as the Maidens. Mariana Andros is a brilliant but troubled group therapist who becomes fixated on the Maidens when one member, a friend of Mariana's niece Zoe, is found murdered in Cambridge. Mariana, who was once herself a student at the university, quickly suspects that behind the idyllic beauty of the spires and turrets and beneath the ancient traditions lies something sinister, and she becomes convinced that despite his alibi, Edward Fosca is guilty of the murder. But why would the professor target one of his students? And why does he keep returning to the rites of Persephone, the maiden, and her journey to the underworld? When another body is found, Mariana's obsession with proving Fosca's guilt spirals out of control, threatening to destroy her credibility as well as her closest relationships. But Mariana is determined to stop this killer, even if it costs her everything, including her own life. Our next title is a Christian fiction suspense love story by America's favorite inspirational storyteller, Karen Kingsbury. Published April 27th, A Distant Shore is a high-stakes love story of danger, passion, and faith. She was a child caught in a riptide in the Caribbean Sea. He was a teenager from the East Coast on vacation with his family. He dove in to save her, and that single terrifying moment changed both their lives forever. 10 years later, Jack Ryder is a daring secret agent with the FBI, and Eliza Lawrence still lives on that pristine island. She's an untainted princess in a kingdom of darkness and evil, on the brink of a forced marriage with a dangerous neighboring drug lord, a marriage arranged by her father. This time, when Jack and Eliza meet, there's a connection neither of them can explain. Both their lives are on the line, and once again, the stakes are deadly high. Can they join forces in a complicated and dangerous mission, pretending to have a breathtaking love without really falling? Sometimes miracles happen not once, but twice, along a distant shore. Our next title is by Liv Constantine, the pen name of sisters Lynn and Valerie Constantine. The Stranger in the Mirror will be published July 6th, and with a 3.9 rating on Goodreads, has been reviewed by Kirkus, Library Journal, and Publishers Weekly. Addison's about to get married, but she's not looking forward to the big day. It's not her fiancé, he's a wonderful man. It's because Addison doesn't know who she really is. A few years ago, a kind driver found her bleeding next to a New Jersey highway and rescued her. While her physical wounds healed, Addison's memory never returned. She doesn't know her real name, or how she ended up injured on the side of a road, or why she can't shake the notion that she may have done something very, very bad. In a posh home in the Boston suburbs, Julian tries to figure out what happened to his loving, caring wife, Cassandra, who disappeared without a trace 2 years ago. She would never have left him and their 7-year-old daughter, Valentina, of her own free will, or would she? As these two lives intersect, The Stranger in the Mirror hooks readers with riveting drama, told with Liv Constantine's hallmark blend of glamour, tense psychological thrills, and jaw-dropping twists. Next we have Survive the Night by Riley Sager. To be published June 29th, this title has received ongoing starred reviews by Publishers Weekly and has also been reviewed by Booklist and Kirkus. It also has a 3.9 rating on Goodreads. It's November 1991. George H.W. Bush is in the White House. Nirvana's in the tape deck. And movie-obsessed college student Charlie Jordan is in a car with a man who might be a serial killer. Josh Baxter, the man behind the wheel, is a virtual stranger to Charlie. They met at the campus ride board, each looking to share the long drive home to Ohio. Both have good reasons for wanting to get away. For Charlie, it's guilt and grief over the murder of her best friend, who became the third victim of the man known as the campus killer. For Josh, it's to help care for his sick father. Or so he says. Like the Hitchcock heroine she's named after, Charlie has her doubts. There's something suspicious about Josh, from the holes in his story about his father to how he doesn't seem to want Charlie to see inside the car's trunk. As they travel an empty highway in the dead of night, an increasingly worried Charlie begins to think she's sharing a car with the campus killer. Is Josh truly dangerous, or is Charlie's suspicion merely a figment of her movie-fueled imagination? What follows is a game of cat and mouse played out on night-shrouded roads and in neon-lit parking lots, during an age when the only call for help can be made on a payphone, and in a place where there's nowhere to run. In order to win, Charlie must do one thing: survive the night. From the author of the full-throttle thriller No Exit comes the psychological page-turner Hairpin Bridge. This title, by Taylor Adams, published on June 15th, has been rated 3.9 on Goodreads and has ongoing starred reviews by Publishers Weekly. 3 months ago, Lena Wynn's estranged twin sister, Cambry, drove to a remote bridge 60 miles outside of Missoula, Montana, and jumped 200 feet to her death. At least, that is the official police version. But Lena isn't buying it. Now she's come to that very bridge, driving her dead twin's car, and armed with a cassette recorder, determined to find out what really happened by interviewing the highway patrolman who allegedly discovered her sister's body. Corporal Raymond Racevic has agreed to meet Lena at the scene. He is sympathetic, forthright, and professional. But his story doesn't seem to add up. For one thing, he stopped Cambry for speeding a full hour before she supposedly leapt to her death. Then there are the 16 attempted 911 calls from her cell phone, made in what was, unfortunately, a dead zone. But perhaps most troubling of all, the state trooper is referred to by name in Cambry's final enigmatic text to her sister. "Please forgive me. I couldn't live with it. Hopefully you can, Officer Racevic." Lena will do anything to uncover the truth, but as her twin's final hours come into focus, Lena's search turns into a harrowing, tooth-and-nail fight for her own survival, one that will test everything she thought she knew about her sister and herself.
Thank you for sharing those titles with us. I hope you guys were able to find something to add to your to-be-read pile, but if not, don't worry. Check out our other videos in this series. If you weren't able to check out the premiere of any video, you can access them through our YouTube and Facebook pages. Thank you and see you next week.